What's going on, everybody? Devin Knotts here, Football Guys, here for another Q&A here on Saturday night. Go as long as we have questions. I think typically we go about an hour, so probably go until about 11:15 Eastern. And I don't know how many people are going to be here tonight, to be honest. I know that there's a lot going on, World Series, college football, which I'm intently watching right now. And we're gonna see how many people are here. Give this a thumbs up so that it does help with the algorithm. And we'll see how it goes. So if we go the full hour, great. If not, no big deal either. So okay, let me tweet this out. All right. So we will go ahead and get into it. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. Power Grid, for those that you don't watch or haven't watched, go ahead and check it out. I think the show is really flowing in our, sixth year. So John and I have been on it ever since the start. And then Ryan Hester has joined us a couple years ago, and he took last year off, and now he's back. So I rather have Alan Herbert plus Wilson. Who's Wilson? Garrett Wilson? Alan. I'm confused, John. Alan? Is it Alan or Herbert plus Wilson and Kirk, or Brady, Hill, Palmer? Yeah, I don't fully understand your question, to be honest. Like, would I rather have Josh Allen plus what Wilson are you referring to? Mine goes to Jeff. I'm assuming you mean Garrett. Garrett Wilson. I don't know what site it is either. So rephrase the question. Happy to answer it. I like Taysom Hill a lot this week, but we're not there yet, Kevin. Any day now, but we're getting close. But thank you. Top 3 defenses this week. I mean, if you can afford the Bills, take the Bills. I personally can't, so I'm going down to the Chicago Bears, currently at home against Miami. We've had a ton of rain and a ton of wind here. I know the conditions are supposed to be a little bit better tomorrow here in Chicago, but the turf at Soldier Field tends to be a problem, and I need savings. So on FanDuel, they're the minimum price. Washington is decent on DraftKings at 2,400. Since Carolina is interesting at 2,300 too, given that Joe Burrow has taken quite a bit of sacks from defenses this year. So those are some defenses to throw out there. I'm basically either going up to the Bills or spending down, to be honest. PPR, Evans, Foreman, Deion Jackson, Lockett, or Boyd. Good Lord. Wow. Evans, probably not Deion Jackson. I'll rule him out immediately. Evans, probably for sure. Foreman, Lockett, or Boyd. Foreman. I'll check Deion Jackson just in case, but I'm fairly confident that not him. Lockett or Boyd. Yeah, I'm gonna go the 3 wide receivers. You could play Foreman if you wanted to, but he doesn't catch passes is the biggest problem. So give me the 3 wide receivers in a PPR. Jackson, we just don't know enough about, to be honest. FanDuel Cash, top end wide receiver, Hill, Hopkins, Jefferson. Yeah, I mean, this one's a tricky one. I'm going Taysom Hill. Tyreek Hill at the moment. I think that he's the safest of the 3. Given the amount of targets that he's had like 46 targets over the last 3 weeks. Bears defense, I've said, are a little sneaky against the pass. They're much better much worse against the run, but they're not overly great against top-end wide receivers. We saw Justin Jefferson go for about 160 yards earlier this season. So give me Tyreek Hill. And then I would probably go Hopkins and then Jefferson. They're all so close, though. I mean, all three of these guys I really, really like, and that's what makes it difficult. Any of them could have a big game. I look at Jefferson just a little more volatile than those guys, but certainly has the upside of just about any of them. Lockett, Jackson, or Foreman? Jackson? Deion Jackson. I'm going to Deshaun Jackson, who's just signed, and I'm going to Lamar Jackson. Yeah. You're answering the other guy's question. Got it. Appreciate that. Thanks for the Power Grid love, everyone. DK Cash, Eckler, Lockett, Walker, Diggs. Give me Eckler, Lockett. Eckler, I mean, he has the most receptions of any wide receiver over the last 2 weeks. They have no Keenan Allen, no Mike Williams. He could very easily catch 10-plus passes, and if he does, you're going to want him in your lineup. Plus, Deontay Foreman ran for over 100 yards against this defense last week. So, to be honest, Eckler is a must play in my cash game lineups. Hey, Michael. Find a couple games and stack them. So, I would look at games that you like the quarterback, obviously, and find a pairing partner. So, a game that I'm currently targeting, to be honest, is Arizona, Seattle. I think that game is going to go underlooked. 3 weeks ago, this was the must-play game of the week. Everyone wanted to be on it. The roster percentages were through the roof, and now not so much. So, you could go a Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins and Tyler Lockett, or you could go Geno Smith and then the same wide receiver pairing, and you would get, some level of what you're trying to do is create different lineups, but don't be stupid, right? Don't take crazy chances, but take guys, try to target quarterbacks that may be a little underlooked. So don't necessarily go with the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, because even if that hits, 15, 20% of GPPs will have those players in there. Whereas a Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins revenge game, there may be like 6% of people. And if 6% hit compared to 30 to 20, then you're in a much better spot. So need to between Pittman, Palmer, and Godwin. Godwin and this one's tough. Let's go Josh Palmer. I'm just not a believer in Sam Ehlinger. I was all over him last week. I'm sorry for anyone who I gave bad advice to. I lost a small fortune, due to Sam Ehlinger. It was a complete wipeout of my cash game lineups because of him and not going with a guy like Jalen Hurts, who I really liked going into that game. But tight end punt James. I don't even know who James Mitchell is, to be honest. Look him up. Detroit? No, I mean, I have Brock Wright as my guy in Detroit. He filled in when TJ Hawkinson got hurt. In his one game where he had above 50% of the snaps, he had 4 receptions for like 47 yards. Admittedly, I follow a lot of college football, and I just don't follow Virginia Tech close enough. Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't have a rookie tight end is going to be a challenge. So give me Brock Wright if I'm punting at the position. Pacheco or Caleb Huntley? Boy. Pacheco or Huntley? love either of them. But let's go Pacheco, I guess. Best value wide receiver on DraftKings. I'll throw out some guys. Give me 1 second and let me pull it up. So on the main slate, I'm assuming is what you're referring to. So from a value perspective, there's not a lot, to be honest. I think that there's, Garrett Wilson is certainly going to get a lot of love at 4,800. Curtis Samuel continues to get love. I don't know why. He was a great player the first 2 weeks. I'm a Curtis Samuel fan since he went to Ohio State, but there's not a lot. Jacoby Myers might get a little interesting. If you're going really low, like a Khalif Raymond, or just trying to look through DeAndre Carter at 4,300 could get someone interesting. And then I think people are going to they were much higher on him going into the week, but Michael Bandy, he's only going to be like 4% rostered now. He was much, much, much higher than that earlier this week. So Michael, what you would want to do for Bills Mafia, you can certainly take if you're going to watch the game and you're going to say, hey, I want Josh Allen and I want Stephon Diggs or I want Gabriel Davis, I would probably prefer Davis over Diggs because he's going to be less popular. And then you would want to take a guy like Garrett Wilson, and then you would want to really try to diversify your rosters elsewhere and avoid some of the most popular players. So Travis Etienne on DraftKings, for example, is going to be very, very popular. You may want to look, instead of Travis Etienne, look at a guy like, I don't know, Josh Jacobs, who's going to be about half the roster percentage of Travis Etienne. So Travis Etienne's trending at about 25 to 30% rostered, where Josh Jacobs is going to be about 10 to 12. And Jacobs had one bad game, right? So are they going to go back to him? I think so. Certainly the Raiders aren't going to get shut out 2 weeks in a row. He had 27 touches in his previous 3 games. He's certainly a guy to look at. Not saying he's going to go off. I think that's not always predictable, but he's a guy that certainly could. Another way to differentiate yourself is look at stacking a second game. And what I mean by that is, okay, you've taken Josh Allen, a wide receiver, and maybe another wide receiver on a different team. But what happens if, in a scenario where Green Bay gets out to a big lead, right? Green Bay gets out to a big lead because Aaron Jones scores 2 early touchdowns. Well, that means that Detroit's going to have to throw the ball the entire game, and Aaron Jones is running the ball for the remainder of the game. So you could look at taking 2 stacks, which is something that some people do, as far as like, hey, you have your quarterback stack, but you also have another correlated stack, if that makes any sense. How would you rank Jets running backs in a Bills passing stack for a milli format? Those aren't all running backs. I'm confused. Michael Carter's certainly interesting. I think if James Robinson is out, Garrett Wilson, I think, is a good play. I wouldn't play Denzel Mims. Has he done anything this year? He had a 76-yard catch last week, or 2 for 76. Yeah, I would stick with Garrett Wilson or Conklin. Yeah, Jackson did, but he had 4 in his other start. So, and that was with Matt Ryan, who has notoriously thrown to running backs, and Sam Ehlinger isn't very good. Fournette or Jackson in PPR? Give me Fournette. He has one of the highest touchdown props on the board. So Foreman started as a 3rd-down running back. He did, but that's because Lamar Miller was so bad at catching passes that the only other guy that they had was Deontay Foreman. And Deontay Foreman, if I recall, wasn't overly great at catching passes either. He was more of a change change of pace type guy. Yeah, he's never had more than 9 catches in a season. So, yeah, he was a third down back, but he wasn't a third down receiving back. DK Cash, running back ranked by most upside. ETN, Stevenson, Walker, or Jackson. By upside, it's ETN, Stevenson, Jackson, Walker. I just can't get over it. Well, yeah. It's definitely ETN. Definitely Stevenson. Third and fourth is close based on could Jackson catch another 10 passes? Yeah, I guess if we're talking just pure upside, he could. Is he going to? Probably not. So I would go with the order that you have it. Heineke, McLaurin. Yeah, I like it. Nobody's going to be on Heineke. And they probably should be because Minnesota's pass defense isn't particularly good. Allen and McKenzie. Yeah. I look at McKenzie as a third guy. Has McKenzie popped this year? Like, I like the idea of McKenzie of he has long touchdown upside, which in a ton of speed. I guess he had one game where he had 7 for 76 and a touchdown, but I'm trying to pull up that game log to see who else might have. Yeah, Josh Allen threw for 400 yards. So Devin Singletary also had 9 for 78. So I look at McKenzie. If McKenzie's going to have a big game, it's probably because Josh Allen is throwing for 400 yards. So I would probably take 3 Bills if you're going to play McKenzie. Allen Herbert, and Wilson Kirk, if you're paying up for a quarterback, I would pay down. Yeah, I would pay down. The way I'm going is I have Brady, Hill, and Palmer right now. I know Rodgers is going to be popular. I understand that. I'm not going with Aaron Rodgers. I think this is a game where Green Bay runs the ball heavily, and I've written this in both of my articles that I've done today, but I'll just give you guys some insight into some of the detail that we're writing in Football Guys. Detroit is bad against however you want to beat them, essentially. So they've allowed over 320 yards to the following quarterbacks: Carson Wentz, Geno Smith before Kenneth Walker. That's important to call out. And Tua Tagovailoa. What do all 3 of those quarterbacks have in common? None of those have really strong rushing attacks. In the games that Detroit has faced quarterbacks with more than capable running backs, Dallas, New England, Philadelphia, Minnesota, they have not allowed more than 260 yards passing and an average of 225 yards passing. Why? Because in a scenario where teams can just run the ball to win the game, they're going to do that. Teams will throw when they need to, especially the Packers. But, are the Packers content with just grinding it out and running the ball 35 times against with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon? Yeah, I think they're completely okay with it. Look at how they've built this team, right? The Packers have no wide receivers. Robert Tunyon's fine as a tight end, but is this a team that you're overly confident that they are going to come out, throw the ball 35, 40 times? Not unless they fall behind, which I don't typically foresee that happening. Can you throw against the Packers backs? The Packers have a really good secondary. AJ Dillon or Khalil Herbert? Probably AJ Dillon. Best game to stack with no bring back. I'm assuming you mean just one team to stack. Probably the Miami Dolphins, because the Bears, unless you're taking Justin Fields, you probably don't need to take another Bear. Brock Wright if he's healthy, or Kate Otten. Give me Brock Wright. Let's have some fun. Chicago weather was bad today. You look at I'm about 4 miles, 5 miles from Evanston, right along the lake. And for those college football fans, you saw what happened in the Ohio State Northwestern game. There were punts that were going about 10 yards. So the weather's not supposed to be bad tomorrow. It's supposed to be like 50 with like 13-mile-an-hour winds. The field might be sloppy, and we'll find out tomorrow, I'm sure. Look at the betting lines. To be honest, if the betting lines start falling, then you should be concerned. But I anticipate that they'll have the field ready to go. Foreman or Walker? Give me Walker. I don't love Walker, but neither of them catch passes. Walker catches more passes than Foreman. But does DraftKings cash stacking Lawrence and Ingram, does ETN make for too many Jags? It's not that it's too many, and I guess for cash it doesn't really matter. The only concern that you have there is like if the Jaguars struggle or even lose the game, you're in a lot of trouble. But I think you would know that anyway. And I guess if Lawrence struggles anyway, you're kind of in a bad spot. So no, I think it's fine. I think it'll cancel out your opponent because your opponent will likely have Travis Etienne. So if you're worried about it, I would just play it. Isaiah Likely or Julio Jones. Those are two names that I have not spent any time on. Let me look. Yeah, give me Isaiah Likely, I guess. Just don't trust Julio Jones. I mean, how can you? Dobbs, Thielen, or Ertz? Let's go Zach Ertz. I don't trust Dobbs. And Thielen with TJ Hawkinson is... I'm just double checking to make sure I'm not giving horrible advice with projections, but Thielen... You could go Thielen. I have Thielen a half a point ahead of Ertz, but I feel better about Ertz for some reason. Need to start one. Dylan, Rondale Moore, Ertz, Dobbs, or CEH. Close. It's really close. I would go Rondale Moore ever so slightly if it's half point PPR. That changes things. I am on full point. Rondale Moore compared to Zach Ertz on full point PPR. Or Dylan playing Romeo Dobbs. I have them all within a half a point of each other. I would go AJ Dillon. The reason is I think he can score a touchdown. If you're not comfortable with Dillon, I understand it. I would go Zach Ertz because I think he has the next best chance to score a touchdown. Do I have any interest in Cordero Patterson? No, not really. We just don't know what his workload is going to be, right? And going up against the Chargers, the matchup should be good. But if you're a GPP guy and you say, hey, I'm going to build 10 lineups, you can take a shot on him. He's a guy who historically people don't like to play. And if we get a report that's positive in the morning that hey, he's going to see a full complement of snaps, then yeah, I think he's a great play. But I honestly don't know. Trying to pull up to see if there's anything that indicates whether he's good or not. He returned to practice 2 days ago. I don't know. No one's going to play him, so I think your point is valuable. And the Falcons, what's the Falcons' record? They're in first place, aren't they? Yeah, they're in first place. So by a full game, so I don't know that they had to bring him back in a somewhat winnable game. So yeah, I think he's a sneaky play, I guess. LSU just took the lead against Bama. Okay. Favorite value on FanDuel. Chris Godwin or Josh Palmer. John, I can't give away everything. Can't give away everything. How do I decipher the Lions backfield situation? I really don't. Jamal Williams is fine. I have no interest. Heineke, McLaurin, or Lawrence Lockett. Heineke, McLaurin, I guess. No, in cash. I'm sorry. I'm not reading things properly. Lawrence Lockett. Yeah, Lawrence Lockett for sure. Lawrence Lockett. Denzel Mims at close to min price. No. Favorite sneaky GPP play of the week? I don't know. I mean, whoever I say is probably going to be wrong, to be honest, because they're sneaky for a reason. But I'll just throw a name out there, I guess. Let's go with. I don't even know what it's so variable. I don't even know what sneaky is, to be honest. Sneaky is someone who's not projected at all. Let's go Drake London. Thoughts on Duvernay? Thought he was hurt. Or was it Bateman that's hurt? Not on the slate. I don't have any thoughts on Devin Duvernay. I would need more context, to be honest. I don't really have much. Who's my favorite DFS analyst? I don't. You guys are asking some weird, interesting questions tonight. I don't have one, to be honest. I don't read a lot of what other people are doing because it gets inside my head and messes with my process. So I spend 40 hours a week looking at this stuff. So I don't spend a lot of time looking at what other people are doing, to be honest. I'll listen to other podcasts just to see who they're playing. So that I can develop our roster percentages, but I don't actually track who's the guy that I listen to the most. Panthers will certainly be chalky. Yeah, I mean, you could spend up for the Bills. I think that's fine. Defense is kind of like you're trying to project defensive touchdowns, which is almost impossible to do. So defense is a bit of a crapshoot. And what I look for in defenses are sacks and pass attempts. So I don't ever like playing a defense against the Bears, for example, because they're just not throwing the ball enough. In most defensive touchdowns are based on pick sixes rather than fumbles. Kadarius Toney or Jerry Jeudy? I don't know. Jerry Jeudy. Do I think Patterson will get a full workload? I mean, he could, and if he does, he's a good play. But I think he will get 80% of his normal workload, which could be good enough. There's just so many good running backs this week that I don't know that you need to go to Cordero Patterson. Colts defense, they're fine. I don't really have much of an opinion on them, to be honest. Yeah, they're just fine. Nothing. But defense is like what I said. It's not something that I overly target. So, looks like we're out of questions. So, I may cut this one short. Rest of season Garoppolo or what Russell Wilson cut. I don't know. I'm not really a rest of season guy, but cut Garoppolo, I guess. Maybe Russell Wilson can turn it around. Maybe. Okay. I mean, we have 60 people here, but if there's no questions, I'm going to go watch some college football. No, likely no. Yeah, I mean he'll be the wide receiver one, but what does it actually mean, right? Devin Duvernay is his role. It probably isn't going to change significantly. He's a downfield deep threat type player. Isaiah Likely's role probably will expand. I don't necessarily think Duvernay all of a sudden is going to become much different than what he already is. I have a lot of interest in this game. I really like the Tampa Bay side of things in this Tampa Bay LA Rams guys or LA Rams side. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch the rest of this Bama LSU game since it's going to overtime. So I'm gonna cut it short. Gabriel Davis or Foreman full PPR. Go Gabriel Davis. So all right, I might be here next week. I might not be. It just depends on or having family is having a second kid. So if I'm here, great. If not, you guys know why. So all right, thanks everybody.